We have 7-minute questions, one round apiece. So I'll start out with my 7 minutes. General Barofsky, you face challenges in overseeing the important and historic investigations. Credit Suisse wrongfully fired you. They smeared your reputation, and recently UBS has imposed access restrictions. So inform the committee how this past and current conduct has impacted your ability to get the job done. In your answer, please address how the current UBS leadership has reacted to your concerns.
It is thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's essential for me to be able to do this job, for me to be able to have access to all relevant documents. And the way to define relevant, these are accounts that indicate whether or not a particular Nazi or Nazi enabler had an account or didn't have an account. That's what we mean by relevant documents. And so when I agreed to come back to UBS, we framed our engagement letter in a way to make sure that what happened previously under Credit Suisse could not happen again. And so our engagement letter makes clear 3 different spots that we're entitled to all documents. The only exception is those that which the bank is prohibited from providing us under law. And so not being able to see a subset of privileged documents for those areas that these documents touch on could have a very significant impact on my ability to finish the job. I don't know what's in those documents. I don't know how it potentially impacts the decision of whether a Nazi had an account or did not have an account. I cannot tell the committee or anyone else if it impacts the extent of the relationships. And these are relevant documents. And just to give you as an example, when this dispute first arose, we gave a set of search terms to the bank. And those search terms were the names of the individuals and entities that are referenced in my written testimony. And we asked them to run them against a set of documents that the bank said might be privileged. And there were hits, there are positives. Those are the documents, some of the documents that are being withheld. And we need to have access to that information in order to finish the job.
Also, to you, describe to the committee the most important investigative findings that you've uncovered to date, and you may have just said that, but go into that.
Thank you. It's a hard question. I think people with different perspectives could look at different things and see different things as being the most important. Certainly the role of the Nazi clients who helped effectuate the Holocaust could be one. As a former prosecutor, the idea of the escape of justice that were facilitated by the Nazi rat lines that the bank was banked and was landlord to. But I think the one that hits me the deepest, Mr. Chairman, is the forced transfer of assets. I can't help, and we have descriptions of different ones, examples that we are disclosing for the first time in my testimony, but I can't help but think of the civil servant. I spent most of my career working in government as a civil servant, and I just can't help but think of that individual saving money, bit by bit. You know, they're not well-paid positions, as we all know. And as sort of the horrors of the Holocaust and Nazi Germany in the 1930s started to descend, thinking, okay, I'm going to put my savings in a Swiss bank. That's where it'll be safe. That's where I can be sure that even if I don't make it out of this, maybe my kids or my grandchildren can have benefit that money that I saved. And so for me, when I think about what must have gone through these people's minds when they found out that their assets, their life savings, are being plucked from their accounts and delivered to their Nazi oppressors. You know, and I think of the individual we talk about as he was boarded on a train to the concentration camp, to his eventual murder, sort of knowing that he had been left penniless at the hands of that Swiss bank. I think that's the one that impacts me the most.
Thank you for your information. I hope everybody knows the Senate will be watching and the truth will come out. It always does. Mr. Barofsky and Ms. Levy, it's my understanding that once the investigation report is finished, the Senate may not have access to a version that names all Nazi-linked account holders. So my question to both of you is, will UBS commit to providing a report with unredacted names to the Senate? If not, why not?
Chairman, thank you for the question. What we are doing at the moment, we are working with Mr. Barofsky to try really to provide as many names as possible. There are limitations due to Swiss law. However, we don't want to protect any of those names, and we will put our best efforts to provide as many names as possible.
Okay. Now I'm going to go to Rabbi Cooper. As I mentioned in my opening, this committee is aware of the legal action that UBS has taken against your organization. I want to thank you for being here. What are the three most important points you want the public to take away from this hearing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would say there are 3 points. Number one, the economic component of genocide. Genocides can only take place when you have organization, industry, infrastructure, bureaucracy, and access to banks. I think the work and the commitment of this committee, I pray and hope, will help lead to making sure that no one involved in crimes against humanity or helping that would ever be in a position to retain those blood-soaked assets. Secondly, we're talking about misleading history. The Swiss banks, despite their promises over a course of decades, we find out and confirm through the work of Neil Barofsky and his team, have withheld the truth. And we're only finding out that truth because of his efforts and because of the power of this committee. We need to make sure there's going to be accountability, and we have to deal with the facts as they are emerging and not just rely on institutional statements made decades ago. And finally, we need accountability for these activities, and we need to create a repository for the important documentation that has emerged as a result of Mr. Barofsky's research, and I might add, the intervention on the part of President Milei of Argentina, who's opened up, unlocked millions of documents within Argentinian archives. We need a repository for all that information, the researchers, the media, young students, so that future generations can learn from the terrible errors of the past and not repeat them.
Senator Durbin.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. And